The song I chose for my ultimate office was Mile High by James Black. It has a lot of beat, which I imagine fits with my industrial feel of my office as well as a chill vibe. The mission for my office was to design a reasonably sized office for 5 people to gather and also have a bathroom. My vision for this office was to create a space where people would feel inspired by industrial design and have the freedom to express ideas and creativity. It was created for clients and staff to feel welcome and invited. This vision is important because I want people to feel free to design things and not be discouraged, but encouraged by new ways of design through great communication. The theme for this project is design and inspire. The design style is an industrial modern design. Jim and Joanna Gaines are who inspired me with their hardware, wood choices, chairs, and light fixtures. My design strategy, the materials used throughout the office space are mostly concrete, copper, metal, and wood. Furniture in the space are desks, tables, chairs, etc. Spatial definition, the outside walls define the space. Those mark the boundaries of my office. Enclosure, the space is partially enclosed. The only room that is fully enclosed is the bathroom. I wanted a space to feel open, and that is also the reason for all the windows, as well as every room only having 3 walls surrounding it. The size of my office is 50 by 60 by 20 feet tall. The form is a short rectangular space. Spatial relationships, I would have to say my office space has a high anatomy because there isn't much leftover space when you look in comparison between the main walking paths and the access amount of space in the office. The spatial texture, my space has a lot of smooth textures. Typically, industrial design is more rough in the materials used, but I moved towards a more clean and smooth version for my office space. There is a mixture of black and gray concrete for the walls, flooring, and ceiling, copper and metal used for most hardware, wood used for most tables, and I also have a lot of plant material for various plants in my space. Here I am showing the events of an experience. First is the approach. First you arrive down in the parking ramp where you would park and then take the elevator, then walk down the hallway to the door going into the waiting room. Second is the waiting area. There you would talk to the receptionist and wait for a scheduled appointment. Next is the moving. Then you would meet and move past the conference room portion with the food and go into the second conference space for your meeting. Next is arrival to the destination. There is where the client's target destination would be located and also where they would be engaging in the target activity, which would be the meeting. Next is the side trips. After the client's meetings, they would be tempted to make side trips, especially if they had coffee during their meeting. A possible side trip would be to the bathroom or to scope out the weight room, or maybe even go get coffee on the way out, which would be a secondary activity. Next is departing. After my secondary activity, the client will be moving towards the exit by moving past the first office and into the waiting room and out those doors. And then final departure. Lastly, the final departure is where the client will be moving out of the office space and going into the elevator to head to the parking ramp and leave the building completely. Next, I want to talk about the occasion. The main occasion to be happening in this office space would be the designers designing and meeting with clients about ongoing or future projects. The players in my office, there will be 4 players for this office overall. We have a client who's coming in for a meeting to ask for an exhibit or any graphic work from me or my coworker. My second persona would be my receptionist, whose purpose will be to schedule meetings and keep everything organized and be the middleman between me and my clients. My third persona is my coworker, that is the designer. They will have their first office space located next to the waiting room. They will be a gifted designer who is young and provides fresh ideas for the company. And lastly, I am the fourth persona. I am the founder and owner of MS Design, and my office is located in the back corner. For resources, my office will always be open for me, my design coworker, and receptionist, because we will all have keys to the office. So for us three, the office is available 24/7. For my clients, they will only be allowed to enter the space between 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. The surroundings, while the clients are in the waiting room, the surroundings they will see the first is the office of my coworker and possibly the weight room. The arousal for each person, I want my clients to have a high arousal, especially their first time entering the office space. As for me and my coworkers, we would have a minimal or a medium arousal. For pleasure, I would want everyone to have a high rate of pleasure. I want my office space to have a vibe that is pleasurable for everyone that walks into it. As far as dominance, I feel as though me and my coworkers would feel a high dominance because we work in the area and we are aware of our surroundings as well as us just being aware of what's going on at all times. The client would feel less dominance because the space is more foreign to them. The function of this office is to design and meet with clients. The space, I believe the space is organized and easy to understand. It is easy to understand and navigate because it is partially enclosed instead of being fully enclosed. You can see more of the space at once than it would if it was a fully enclosed office. The place within the office space is a waiting room, 2 office spaces, 2 conference areas, a workout room, and a bathroom. My landmark is the copper wall located in the waiting room. It is an easy location to see and it is very visual and also includes my branding on it, so I thought that was a cool place to have my landmark. My initial impression, I believe everyone would walk in and have the impression of a professional minimalist space. I would hope they would get the impression that they could trust me and my designs by simply seeing the design of the office spaces. Paths, there is one main path to get from the front to the back of the office space. The path is self-explanatory, I'd say. There's a large straight path from the back to everything is located on either the left or right side as you would walk from the front to the back of the office space. The primary nodes would be the waiting area and conference areas. Those are the 2 spaces that would have the most activity in the space that everyone would be going to. As far as understanding my office space in the project, I feel like I understand the project at hand. I believe I understood the context, the program, and the type of this project. The ideation, I didn't find this state of the design process very hard. I knew what spaces I wanted to include in the space and the ideas I wanted to, so approaching the project wasn't as hard as it typically was in the past. As far as development, the actual development of this project took a long time. I added a lot from my original office space I designed. The order of moving through this space, I want to break into 3 different personas that would be walking through here. For my clients, their order would be the waiting room, then the conference room, then back to the waiting room, and then back through the waiting room and out the doors. For my design coworker, Their order would be going from the waiting room to their office, then the conference room, then back to their office, and then out through the waiting room doors. And then for myself, my order would be entering through the waiting room, then to my office in the back, to the conference room for meetings, then back to my office, then later heading back out through the waiting room out those doors. For enrichment, I want my clients to feel a high level of enrichment. I want them to feel important to the design process and feel free to speak their minds about their thoughts and ideas. And expression, I would have to say my office gives the expression of industrial design in a professional space. That is at least the expression I want people to feel when they enter the space. And that is my ultimate office.